What's up, guys? ONLYUSEmeBLADE. This is your Sunday chill commentary. Um, I think this has become. Is this become a standard for you? Is this something you accustomed to, or are you just like, yes? You get surprised. I know I've done things where I say I don't do Sunday chill commentaries. You know, every single Sunday. I try to do them every single Sunday. I try to make sure that that's a planned thing, but also at the same time, I know I'm a broke record. I'm not going to do it if it's not good. So, and that's just my standard. I knew I'd work that in perfectly. That's just my standard. So, like, standards are funny because, like, a lot of times we make fun of other people's standards, and I can't tell you what standards that you have. And I'm talking about with anything, everything that you do, every decision you make is based off your standards of yes or no. Like, what are the qualifying definitive things that you need to process in order to be like, yes, that's a good idea, I'm in, or no, that's a horrible idea, fuck you. Just, obviously you don't solve problems that way, but, everything is kind of based off standards. Like when I used to work for, I don't want to say the company, but when I used to do, home theater installations, I used to work with these dudes that were like, they were like these like stereo hipsters, kind of. I don't want to say, actually, no, hipster's not good because that has to do with time. They're more like stereo snobs, and they would say something like, they would ask me like what speakers I have, and I'd be like, I know some stereo heads out there who's gonna look this up, but I'm like, I have the JBL L7s, and I'm running a Marantz amp, and they'd be like, what's the speaker wire you're running with? I'm just like, I'm running these Audio Quests. I forgot, like the Q series or something like that. I don't remember. And they're like, how can you listen to that? I'm like, whoa, what do you mean? Like, it sounds really good. And what I realized was, like, their standards for what they listen to, like, they're constantly, it's weird because there's, like, our standards change along our drive. Does that make sense? Like, if you have a drive to be successful, like a lot of people have, like, this drive for money, or a drive for status, or a drive for fulfillment, or whatever your drive is that pretty much gets you up and gets you motivated, or whatever. The reasoning behind you doing what you do as far as being a successful person. And, along that line, your standards change. Everyone's standards change. Like, the standard for a lady friend now at the age of 29 is way different than it was at 18. The like, here's a good example, and this is just a basic one that's going to apply to most people, right? Remember when remember your first HD television? And this is another thing that pisses me off. There's a lot of people that get these HD televisions, they don't even have it set up right. But like, actually, I find that it's a very, very annoying habit that when I go to people's houses, I kind of look at their setup. I look at their setup and just kind of poke my head back there, make sure they got the right connections, because you're only as good as your connections when it comes to stuff like that. Which is really rude though, because imagine if the roles were reversed. Like, if someone came in my house and started looking at my setup. I call it the setup because every dude that's into like electronics has like a setup, right? If some dude would come in and start like looking behind and looking at my setup, I'd be like, what are you doing back there, bro? That's my playground. Stop that, But I do it to other people. I more so do it to people who I think wouldn't give a shit or care. And that's a horrible generalization because, like, I could do that to someone who actually did their research or actually stays up on that kind of stuff, Or they just don't care. And I'm just like, dude, we can totally fix this. We can make this better. And it's funny that, I would be like, that's like someone, like, I hate when people come in the car and they're like, hey, rev up the engine. I'm just like, okay, dude, you pay for the gas. But they're just like, let's just listen to it, And so I rev it up. They're like, dude, we can do this and this and this to the engine. I'm like, that's not me, bro. That's not what I do. I'm not into modifying the engine like that. It's just not my thing. He's just like, dude, you had all, you modify the stereo and you put a grill in the front and this and that. And I'm just like, yeah, because that's my standard is I can't be in a car on a daily basis without good music. I can't do it, or just or even if it didn't have good music, at least if it was like clean music and I had like an iPod connection, when you get into, I think that Sirius satellite radio, I think that that's sold probably double because of rental cars. Because every rental car you get into, you see that you have the satellite radio, and it might not be in your current car. Okay, so like one little trip with Sirius satellite radio, like I'm fucking hooked. I'm not hooked enough though because I haven't decided like I wanted to get that. And one of the main reasons that I don't really want to get it is because of the car wash. Like I don't want the antenna to get fucked up in the wash. So I don't know. My standards for the next place I move to, I've always told people this. I'm liking where I'm at right now, but the next place that I move to is probably gonna be my last stop. And there's certain standards, there's certain checklist points that I want to keep at. You ever gone to Auto Trader and wanted to look for a specific car, and you put in all those different variables, and it's like, nope, nothing. That's kind of what is kind of going on. Like I used to live out on a house on the water, on a lake, and it was perfect because it was like the perfect combination. Like I think water's soothing, and water's like needed. Like I think I even started this commentary. I don't think I did. I think I was on the other tribe, but like, with one standard I have is that when if I don't actually sleep at my house, it happens sometimes. Sometimes I go, go out to other places and I end up sleeping at other people's house places. People have crashed here before. Not a big. I don't know why I'm defending it like that, but it becomes a situation where like I'm at the house and like one standard that I've gotten accustomed to, just like you've probably gotten accustomed to like a HD TV, is I need to have fresh water. And, people can live off tap. I don't want to. Call me whatever. I've had people say, dude, you kind of have an arrogance about you, or like you talk as if you're better than everyone else. And I'm like, no, that's not it. It's just I've accumulated certain standards, ways I want to be, and ways that I am. And I'm going to be me. But, I don't drink tap water. Suck my dick. So, so I've actually thought about like, dude, I want to leave this house. I want to go back to my house and get tap water. I like being in a comfortable, my own home surroundings. That's why I'm finding myself looking at stuff like Bed Bath & Beyond more, just because I like nice, comfortable shit. Like, why not? And just the standards I've raised. So when I actually end up getting a house, right, it's gonna be one of those situations where there's gonna be a lot of checkpoints made. Because don't you hate when you get something and it's like, oh fuck this, and I'd rather have had that. Like the whole grass is always greener. Yeah, it is, but if you really do your research, you can find the greenest of grass. And that there's greener grass out there, but you're like, no, I don't need the kingdom. I need my own little humble abode. So, that's with anything. And that's with, when I was going to do standards, I was going to talk about standards of YouTube, but that's stupid. Like, that's dumb. Because I read a Facebook. I remember it was really funny because I was looking about standards of YouTube and this and that. Like, oh, what's a YouTube standard for your video? It's just like, whatever. I think you need to set your own standards, and other people can look at you and go, oh, his standards are this, this, and this, and this, and this. Like, I was driving with this lady friend, and we pull up and there's a fucking a hamster. There's a hamster in a cage by a dumpster. And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe someone just would leave a hamster out like that. I'm like, yeah, that's messed up. It's raining, roll up the car windows. And she's just like, stop the car. And I'm like, okay, so stop the car. We're in like an AM PM parking lot. She goes out and she grabs it and puts it in the back seat. And she's like, we got to go back to my house. We need to put this in my house because this isn't right. And I'm just like, wow, you didn't even think of that. Like, you didn't even contemplate that. You just went right for it. She's like, yeah, it's fucked up. That's a living thing, you know? And so her standard of, if she sees a hamster in a cage by 8 p.m., her initial response was like, okay, we're going to grab it. We're going to take it home. And I'm just like, damn, I wouldn't do that. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't do it. Like, there's lots of, you know, that's like saying every time you see a bum, you give a bum money. No, I'm not doing that. All the bums would hit me up. But her standard of in a situation, I think what it is, a lot of times you need to see how people react to certain situations. I don't mean test them, because you can't test people. That's fucked up. But like, as you get to know them over time, seeing how they would react to certain situations, that right there is a judge of character. And that's like, some people talked about character is what people do when no one's looking. Well, I don't know about that, because character is more of a, you know, I think it's how other people perceive you. Does that make sense? Because like, I think if you do something because you want other people to perceive you in a certain way, that's kind of fucked up. Like, that, and doesn't work, because you're not going to do that consistently. You're not going to do that all the time. Does that make sense? I think that the standards and the way that you live, it fully depends on you and your life, and you know, your life intake and how you want to be. You know what I mean? Like, one of my standards is a girl has to have a large chest. I'm sorry. Call me a male asshole, unsub, get pissed off. I'm sorry, but like, for a female companion, we're not in the fucking Harry Potter movie, okay? We're not in middle school writing love fucking letters here. We're in the real world, and part of a female relationship is sex. And in order for me to have sex, I have to be sexually interested, and I'm not sexually interested in flat-chested chicks. Now, does that make it wrong? Does that make it fucked up? Does that, to think about a companion? I'm like, I got lots of companions. I got lots of people that I fucking chop it up with. And we talk and conversate, and we enlighten each other that way. But as far as like a relationship, there's sex involved. There needs to be penetration. There needs to be fucking. That's not all it's about, but that's a part of it. So that kind of dissects the whole why I don't talk to A-cuppers, you know? I mean, I'm just a swell guy. But see, that's the thing though. Like, when we talk about stuff like that, you could take it completely out of context, and you can be like, oh, Blade, that's fucked up, you know? And sometimes I kind of tickle with that emotion, where I literally try to get your attention, and I say some fucked up shit just to invoke a reaction, see how you do it, you know? Like, a lot of times people like asking you questions like, how, you know, if you were in this situation, I'm like, stop. A, I'm not in that situation, so I can't honestly say. And B, you know, isn't that what it's about? It's about finding out what you do in certain situations. I think that's kind of what part of life is like, you know, you ever see a kid and be like, dude, he is going to have a rough life because he doesn't know how to deal with situations even at a young age. So, or you can see people and see how they interact and see how people handle things. And be like, okay, that person's going to do well. His standard is this, you know? I've never see him go down, you know what I mean? Keeping up a good track record, always doing what you're going to say, that's important. Just so people know where your standards are at. And if you think about it, your standards a lot of times are for other people. They're so other people know what your situation is. So my standards is like, you know, I've kind of grown accustomed to certain things. I aspire for some things, but I also realize that I'm not going to have a penthouse suite on top of the Empire State Building or something. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to have insane shit like that, but I definitely want to be near some water.